Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of August 20th, 2023. But first, a look back at how the astrology of last week showed up for us in the collective. Now, you can go and listen to last week's episode if you did not hear it. But the two big things I was looking at was the fact that we had a last quarter moon on world points. So the sun was at 15 degrees of Leo and the moon at 15 degrees of Taurus. And the moon was conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter magnifies everything, and in Taurus, an earth sign. And the sun in Leo, a fire sign, moon and Jupiter in Taurus, earth signs. And when there's an activation, any kind of aspect involving world points, it suggests that stories will have more prominence in the news. And the moon rules the people, conjunct Jupiter, lots of people will be impacted. And the next day was the second of three, where Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo squared Uranus in the sign of Taurus as well. So here we have fire and earth. I said, look at somewhere Venusian. Paris popped into my mind. But unfortunately, the story was in Maui, where there were massive wildfires that literally destroyed an entire town of Lahaina. And what a tragedy. I mean, just an absolute tragedy. And there was very little time. It happened so suddenly, a combination of potentially hurricanes that were happening not near there, but were stirring up the winds. And Mercury and Mars have been conjunct in the sign of Virgo. And yeah, more and more is coming out about this. There is a donation link from the AP Associated Press news service. So, if you are able, I suggest you help donate to the people of Hawaii. Just make sure, it's a reputable organization. And so that's why I put the link from the Associated Press, but there's a lot of others. If you don't know and just want to help, you can always just use like the Salvation Army or the Red Cross. And I know these organizations have sometimes had issues with, the percentage of money they donate. So if you have time to really get into the nitty gritty and look into a local organization that's going to have the maximum amount of funding go to the people, I recommend that you choose one of them. Another aspect of the story that we found out today, I've taped this early, is that Hawaii has an incredible early warning system, which should have set off a bunch of sirens to warn people that there was a catastrophe, but it did not go off. And at this point, we don't know what happened, but Mercury is in Virgo, where it's at home and very strong. They have an incredible early warning system, but it's in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. It did not go off. There was a delay, a collapse, a problem with the sound system. Mercury rules communication. So I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that part of the story. But it's just such a tragedy on such a scale, it's hard to even comprehend. When Venus entered the sign of Leo, a fixed fire sign, on June 5th, the first aspect it made was an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius, also at 0 degrees. Aquarius is a sign that rules the collective, and Pluto brings up shadow energies. So we are seeing a lot of the shadows of overpopulation and people and what we have done to the earth. Uranus is in Taurus. And so we're seeing massive changes in Earth. Venus rules comfort as well as beauty and love and relationships and all of these kinds of things. And, a big part of the story is the catastrophic heat around the globe. The people's comfort is decreased because of climate change and what we've done to the earth. And so we are seeing this magnified throughout this transit. And when Venus went retrograde at 28 degrees of Leo, it was in a quincunx with Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto had moved back into Capricorn because we're still completing work there about the breakdown and the shadow energies about government and big business and other Capricornian themes. And on the other side, it was quincunx Neptune in Pisces, which rules the seas and the water. And there was a yod point. So Venus was at the top of a yod, this chart pattern, which is called a finger of God, that suggests you've been pointed at. And yeah, we see one of the stories of this transit, and hopefully there will not hear anything even more horrific than this, was that, this entire town, this huge catastrophe, Pluto of an island, Neptune and Pisces, that people go for vacationing. It's one of the most beautiful spots in the world, but has been overpopulated. And yeah, a lot of the beauty has been taken away by, like, the coral reefs and things around the islands have been almost destroyed by human beings. Yeah, so this beautiful place destroyed. So very, very, very sad. And as I said, if you can help the people of Maui, please consider doing so. The theme of this week is peaches and cream. And as I was preparing for this, songs kept popping into my head. I'm not sure exactly why. The moon is trine Neptune, so that might be why as I am recording this. Yeah, it's song week. Yes, it is. And Peaches and Cream is a song by 112, so you could go watch the video if you like. And there are three big things I want you to think about. The first is that Virgo season begins on Wednesday. Virgo is a mutable earth sign that is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is at home in Virgo and Gemini, and Virgo, its tagline, its Real Housewife tagline is, I bring order to chaos. It's a great time to focus on health, decluttering, getting organized, adding productivity tools in order to make your life run easier. So sometimes it takes time to set up something, like I love Asana, the task manager software or, website or whatever you call it, that helps you really organize yourself. Or you can get, shelving systems or all these kinds of things that, they take time to implement. But once you've done it, it makes your life so much easier. So think about that. It's also a great time to think about how you can be of service to others. Also, your mental and physical health, a great time to consider how you can make changes in order to improve both of them. Now, I am an affiliate for the fast mimicking diet, ProLon. It's a 5-day fast mimicking diet. If you've been following me on my Instagram channel, I have done this several times. But it changed my life the first time I did it back in 2021, where I was having so much trouble getting rid of some excess weight no matter what I did. And it reset my metabolism. So there'll be a link in the show notes. You can use my code 10 Celeste to get 10% off. Check it out if it's something that you're struggling with or want something to help clean up your diet and reset yourself. I absolutely love ProLon and sing its praises every time I can. Now, it's not for everyone, but it's just 5 days where you really get yourself together. And it does this thing called cellular cleanup, and it's got clinical trials. So look it up and see if you're interested, if you're looking for something to make some changes. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that Mercury in Virgo will go retrograde on Wednesday at 21 degrees of Virgo and will appear from our position on Earth to go backwards through the zodiac back to 8 degrees of Virgo on September 15th, when it will then turn and go direct. So part of your chart, Mercury is going to reverse over and come back over between that 8 and 21 degrees of Virgo. If you have planets or placements there, they will get 3 activations. Well, there may be a story that has an act, something happens, then there's like a reoccurrence, or it comes back for review, and then there's the psychological integration. So it may be all internal, or you may see things actually happen in your life. As I'm taping this, we're still in the shadow period, and yesterday my computer went bonkers. So I'll have to cast a chart and see what was going on with that. So Mercury retrograde, it happens 3 times a year. It's classic. People most associate it with electronics going haywire. Mercury rules computers and electronics and things like that. Your phones going skedaddly and things like that. But Mercury rules communication, commerce, and transportation. So like big car accidents or like flight or any kind of transportation delays are on point for this transit. When a planet goes retrograde, what that means is that the topics and rules can go wonky. It's considered a major affliction, and it brings delays, like repetition of previous occurrences. It can bring disagreements, and the collapse of anything contemplated is also possible. Now we have an opportunity to just slow down. It's not a great time to start anything new, but you can go back and review and reconsider and do all the RE words. Like, is there any project that you put down? It's a great time to pick it back up. Or maybe you've written something at work or created some presentation. You can go back and put your editor's cap on and put additional finishing touches on it and make it better, improve it. So think about that with this transit. But your ghosts may come back, friends you haven't heard from, or neighbors or anyone for a long time, or, some ex may slide into your DMs. Remember why you broke up in the first place. These are things that are all on point. Not a great time to sign any contracts. Now, we have to keep going forward with life. So I don't recommend you get bananas about it. Some people get so scared about these retrogrades. Just slow down. If you have to sign a contract, really read the fine print. This is when people buy a car and then 3 months later discover they have a lemon or something like that. So just keep that in mind throughout this transit. Now, in the collective, it's going to be bananas. I can just tell you that, because there's so many things going on, and it will impact a fair number of people. It may just be about storms and travel delays, but the moon will be in Scorpio when Mercury stations to go retrograde at 23 degrees of Scorpio, opposite Uranus at 23 degrees of Taurus. So moon opposite Uranus, something sudden and surprising will impact a fair number of people. Also, when it goes retrograde, the sun will be at 0 degrees of Virgo, a critical degree. Again, maybe it's something impacting a lot of workers. Could be something like that. Virgo rules, servants and employees that just do the work. And Mars in Virgo will be opposite Neptune. Mars rules power. Opposite Neptune, Mars rules conflict or problems where there could be some kind of power outage or something due to storms. And Venus is retrograde in the sign of Leo, squaring Jupiter in Taurus. both at 15 degrees of their respective signs. 15 degrees of the fixed signs is a world point. So world points means that whatever's going on will be magnified in some way. Now, there are a lot of stories that could possibly be coming up. One that I think may be possibly happening this week is that the Republicans in the United States Congress may start impeachment proceedings on Joe Biden. I think that's part of why it's called Peaches and Cream. It's also called Peaches and Cream because Venus square Jupiter, these are the benefics where we want like to bring pleasure and abundance, and a square is tension. So it's like you make the ice cream sundae and then you put on the sprinkles and then you put on the sauce. It's like more, give me more pleasure, more abundance. Somebody's going to go out and buy something very expensive that they can't afford, and then they're going to be stuck with the credit card bill for ages. Yeah, there's this desire for luxury goods some people may be really combating, or indulgence in food or things like that. Hopefully there won't be a big thing where a bunch of people get poisoned with fentanyl or something like that. Mars and Virgo opposite Neptune, like a big problem with tainted drugs could be something that comes up. Also, like a cyber attack on a bank or something like that with Venus square Taurus. Venus rules money. Taurus is a resources. Venus square Jupiter in Taurus, excuse me. Probably a big celebrity news. What I'd like to see is with that Mars opposite Neptune, like maybe a roundup of a bunch of drug dealers or sex traffickers or something like that, where people are brought to justice. We may also see imperial powers giving back jewels, which are Venus topics, or something else stolen during colonial times to either like India or Africa. This has been something that's been in the news recently. So yeah, look for stories. I'll keep you posted about stories about that. But this is going to be kind of a wild week with this Mercury retrograde, because we have the dual retrograde where both Mercury and Venus are retrograde from August 23rd to September 3rd. So really slow down, get places early. Download things, have a hard copy, print things out, because you may get somewhere and you want to give a presentation and your computer's not working or your phone's out of juice, or like there's just going to be a lot of these little problems. Get to the airport early. Yeah. Pray for me for my flight too. I'm going to a wedding. I really hope I get there and back safely. I'm also an affiliate for Birthdate candles. These are just wonderful candles that are a great gift for someone else or yourself. It has the person's birthday on it and gives them some information about the astrology, the numerology, and the tarot correspondence. And there's a special deal where if you buy a Birthdate candle, you get a Surviving Mercury Retrograde candle for 30% off if you use my code CELESTEBROOKS, all one word. I'll put a link in the show note. These candles smell wonderful and they're beautiful. They're great for yourself or a gift. And yeah, like this Mercury retrograde candle can help relax you and center yourself during this transit, which could be a little haywire. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that we're going to have a first quarter moon at 1 degrees of Sagittarius on Thursday. I love that we had a new moon in Leo last week, a fire sign, and now we have the first quarter moon in Sagittarius, another fire sign. It feels like Action Jackson. First quarter moons are time to make action. So can you think about Sagittarius themes, about how you can have a sense of adventure, how you can expand yourself, how you can have the confidence to take actions, to go after what you have set your intentions for, on how you want to grow yourself and achieve your goals. Now, this first quarter moon is squaring Saturn. So go slow, watch out for pessimism. Saturn can like make our thought processes. It can bring in the, no, you can't do this kind of energy. Have the faith and the confidence. Now, as I said, because Mercury's retrograde, we're working on things we've already started, not starting new things. And I want you to look at these dates for the moon phase family. So look back to November 23rd, 2022. Give 2 weeks on either side. What was going on in your life back then? Back then, we had a new moon in Sagittarius at 1 degrees. And so what was seeded or started back then, if there is a story in your life, there might be a pivot point about now, or, within 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after now, with the first quarter moon. 9 months from now, there'll be a full moon on May 23rd of 2024, where the sun will be in Gemini at 2 degrees, the moon is Sagittarius at 2 degrees. All is revealed at the full moon. There may be another pivot point in the story. And 9 months after that, there'll be a last quarter moon, February 20th of 2025, where the sun will be in Pisces, the moon in Sagittarius, both at 2 degrees, where there may be a pivot point as you start to wrap up this story. So consider that as well. But I love Sagittarius energy. On Sunday, the word of the day is waterfalls. And so you can listen to Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls by TLC. I am not a singer. Apologies for that. We're going to have a waxing crescent moon at 12 degrees of Libra at 5:23 a.m. Pacific time. Libra is an air sign that connects. Hopefully you and your partner will have a lovely time, but you may find yourself feeling a little emotional. The sun in Leo is quincunx Neptune in Pisces at 27 degrees of each of the signs. And quincunxes can move us into new situations. You might be feeling emotional if you need to have a good cry. Yeah, practice forgiveness, or things could really go down the tubes quickly with you and your partner. On Monday, the word of the day is unstoppable. You can listen to that song. There is so much incredible energy to help you really feel pumped up. The sun in Leo is quincunx Pluto in Capricorn. So the sun is now at the top of that yod. So some sun in Leo person is going to be pointed at. It could be a celebrity, Leo type figures, royalty. Yeah, we'll see an actual person who's a Leo, what comes into the news on this day. Yeah, but Pluto power, you can feel like you've got the power to achieve your goals. Watch out for power struggles or people trying to dominate others. Mars in Virgo is also in a quincunx with the North Node in Aries. Mars is also very action-taking, and they're both at 26 degrees. So just be mindful that the energy on this day is pretty tense, especially after the moon enters Scorpio, a fixed water sign at 4:21 p.m. Pacific time. There may be some really big news on this day. We'll see. Scorpio rules big banks and things. It also rules it's a shadow energy. The moon is in fall in this sign. Yeah, I feel like it's really road ragey, where people may be fighting over nothing, or just trying to get one up over other people, but you can use this energy to feel unstoppable for yourself and that you can achieve your goal. On Tuesday, the word of the day is conservation. I want you to watch out for overdoing things. This is the day that Venus retrograde in Leo squares Jupiter in Taurus, both at 15 degrees on a world point. Conserve your energy. Watch out for overdoing things. Mars is also opposite Neptune. Mars in Virgo opposite Neptune in Pisces at 26 degrees and 59 minutes of each sign. So Neptune is moved back to the 26th degree of Pisces. So Neptune's retrograde, Mars is direct. This opposition is mutually applying to each other. This could be about weather or some of the other topics I talked about earlier. For people who have issues with drugs or alcohol, be really mindful to not overdo it. There could be something big about that. On Wednesday, the word of the day is work. And I'm thinking, Work it, girl, on the runway. Work, turn to the left. Work, turn to the right. That song was popping into my head. On this day, the sun enters Virgo at 2:01 a.m. Pacific time. Virgo is a sign of work, the chop wood, carry water energy, great time to get mundane tasks done. This is the day that Mercury stations retrograde at 12:59 p.m. Pacific time. The sun will parallel the nodes. This is a big day. I think there'll be big action on this day. The north node's in Aries. The south node is in Libra. Yeah, the sun rules the authority. I wonder if this is the day that the Republicans in Congress are going to do something, take action about impeaching Joe Biden. Maybe not. Maybe it's some other story. But the chart cast for Washington with Mercury retrograde has the moon in the 11th house, and Congress is an 11th house topic, as well as, groups, organizations. Yeah, we'll see what happens. On Thursday, the word of the day is bravado. The moon enters Sagittarius at 1:07 a.m. Pacific time. I love a Sagittarius moon. Can you feel optimistic and expansive with this mutable fire sign? There's going to be a first quarter moon at 2:57 a.m. where the sun is at 1 degree Virgo, the moon at 1 degree Sagittarius. First quarter moons are time to take action. Now, Mars in Virgo is trine Pluto in Capricorn. Can you feel invincible, that you have what it takes to go after and bring to your life what you desire? On Friday, the word of the day is tension. There could be some argumentative energy. There's not a lot of transits, mostly just the moon. But Venus is semi-square Mars. So Mercury's retrograde, Venus is retrograde. Don't bring up problems from the past or be critical or dramatic. This could be like big dramatic fights between couples or lovers where we're in the first quarter phase, like breakup central. So keep that in mind. Don't start anything you don't want to finish. Don't come for anyone who didn't send for you. Just be on your best behavior with relationships that you value. On Saturday, the word of the day is maturity. If you got petty yesterday in a fight, try to clean it up. You can salvage things. Yeah, the moon will enter the earth sign of Capricorn at 6:05 a.m. Pacific time. So you may have been feeling all big and bad and bold yesterday and feeling a little like depressed or down a little bit. The moon is in detriment in Capricorn. I think I said the moon was in detriment in I hope I didn't say the moon is in fall in Scorpio and detriment in Capricorn. If I mixed anything up, I apologize. Both of these are considered debilities for the moon. It doesn't like to be in either sign. So keep that in mind. As a reminder, you can consider ProLon or get the Birthdate candle with my affiliate codes. And so that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories, or just let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you or any songs that popped into your head this week. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.